how many years you've been in business, in the leasing business, the size of your portfolio, how do you originate leases? I mean, are you buying them from brokers, or are you directly going out and visiting your clients? And we're going to want a little bit of the biography and resumes of the senior management to be able to work with us. That's about it. So, where this lease MGA works well and where it doesn't work well, I'm going to cover, because this is very important for Alan Anders from PNC to talk. The lease MGA works really good on larger ticket capital goods. Part of the reason is that we are slow. We're a government, and it can get pretty painful sometimes dealing with us on a one-off transaction. So if you've got a lot of smaller, when I mean smaller, probably somewhere less than maybe 250 below, this is probably not the product you want to use unless it's a very, very well-known buyer. I mean, if you're selling to Petrobras, Pemex, any of the maquiladoras, the real big, well-known corporates in Latin America, fine. If you're not, it's going to generally take us, if you've got a perfectly produced package and your borrower or your lessee is in decent financial state, you're probably looking somewhere in the neighborhood in today's environment about 3 months plus to get the lease approved. And when you're doing smaller ticket items, your lessees can't wait that long. So that's why we have the alternative product that, again, Alan will talk to. This product works really good. We're working with, I think the Navstar one's pretty big, and the Aren's transaction is several millions of dollars, and it works pretty good.
Could it be like a X amount of money, millions, but in different deliveries, or?
Yes, it can. What we do in those cases is you come to us with a customer and you say, I have, you're from what country are you? Argentina. The Pepsi bottler that owes me a bunch of money. No, just kidding. Anyway, the way we work that is you come to XM and you say, for the next 1 year, 2 years, I plan to sell or lease X amount of dollars to them, and then you can do tranches. So you have a lessee, you're thinking of maybe $2 to $3 million during a 1 year period. Then yeah, what you do is we will commit for the full period, and we'll even go longer. I mean, if it's a known capital equipment expansion, a plant's being built, and it's going to take 3 years, 4 years to build the plant. Say it's a huge petroleum or a gas plant, and we can get you commitments pretty far out, and you just disperse line by line on those.
Could it include services?
Yes, yes, it can include services.
What about the definition of the U.S. content?
All right. Again, the U.S. content, I like to just use the Made in the USA label, but what you're really looking at is 85% of the lease amount needs to be U.S. content. Okay? If it's less than that, then we lower the amount of the lease. And you can still do the full lease amount, but we're only going to cover the U.S. content portion. Okay? If it's a very large lease, I'm saying say maybe from the 5 to unlimited, we do have agreements with other ECAs around the world, and we can do co-financing. We've done co-financing on aircraft, pretty large tickets, where US Exim will take a portion, and I think it was Japan had a big content part. So we did the co-financing with the Japanese. The leasing company wouldn't really know that much about it, because what we're doing is we're covering the full. We're giving you the 100% agreement, and we're just really co-financing it and getting basically reinsurance from the other export credit agency.
And you are talking about finance.
Finance lease.
Finance lease.
Yeah.
Could be securitization.
Securitization.
To buy the assets of the leasing company.
As long as
Special purpose vehicle?
Yeah, it'll be a special purpose. It'll be a little bit more difficult to do because you got to get hands around the leasing company. But yeah, it can be. It probably would only make sense if it's a large amount. Okay, but
Large amount,
it's doable. We do special purpose leasing on aircraft all the time. Okay, and we do them on some very large, you know, $40, $100 million transactions. We haven't done them on the smaller ones, but yes.
And you make also operation with local money? Local money, like Brazil,
Yeah.
reais?
Good point. There's a good side and a bad side to that. Yes, we can do them in local currency, select local currencies. However, it gets very difficult to sell those in the capital markets. PEFCO, for example, cannot buy anything other than dollar. But yes, you can do them local. You just won't be able to sell it off to PEFCO. You might have to find somebody else if they're willing to buy it from you, and then we have to work some special provisions with them. Generally, we'll allow you to sell off an asset to an entity that already has an agreement with us. If it's an unknown entity, it gets a little bit difficult.
As I understood, the finance lease goes up to 3 years?
Finance lease, no. 99% of what we do, say, other than like aircraft and big projects, you're looking at 3 to 5 years. We can go 7 years on some items. If it is renewable energy, if it's wind turbines, we can go up to 15. And then if it's large aircraft, I think it goes up a little bit higher than that. But most of what we're going to see coming out of lessors in this room, you're looking at 5, sometimes 7 year.
If I understand correctly, the answer to Tafa's question, you can get the guarantee. You can get the guarantee from from the U.S. Exim Bank, and one possibility could be that the leasing company can eventually issue paper in the local stock exchange, selling it with the guarantee of U.S. Exim Bank. It's a kind of credit enhancement. Is that something that is feasible?
Hasn't been done with leasing companies.
That'd be totally new.
That would be new. I mean, in theory,
It may work.
yes. In practice, it's never been done.
Let's talk reality, not fantasy.
Yeah. So the other thing, around the tables, I bought about 30 of these things. It's a little packet like this on the tables. This covers all the products that Exim Bank has for lenders, lessors. We do have a lot of other products. Some of you are also finance companies, so you do straight finance, you do leases, you do other working capital. This brochure here will cover all the products that Exim Bank has. I just want to leave you with the one statement here is that we're here to help. We've got a lot of liquidity. We're one of the few financial institutions in the world that actually grew this year. We went from about $15 billion in transactions to almost $21 billion in business. Primarily because when the private sector stopped lending money, we continued. We don't have a liquidity problem. We do want to make loans. We need more partners. We really need those of you that are local in country to work with us. It's a good product to have for you. It adds competitiveness to what you do, especially on the larger transactions, because the cost of capital is so inexpensive. And those of you that would like to learn more about how to work with Exim Bank, I'll be here the rest of the day, and I'd love to sit down and talk to you about starting the application process. Maybe I'd have to raise her hand. She's been through it. She's still alive. Yeah, smiling. So it does work. It does work. And the big guys, the Cats and the Navisos, they've got more patience. And we've been working with them for years and years and years. Any other questions of Exim Bank? Again, I'm around, so